Hi friends, so in today's video I'm going to teach and coach on organizational culture. Organizational culture is a branch of human resources, or what others would call talent management. All right. So I'm going to teach firstly on just the word culture itself, and how as leaders in organizations should actually take culture seriously. Now, the first point, or the point of departure, is going to read from the statement that says, culture are the assumptions we do not see. Okay, let me correct that. Actually, culture are the assumptions we cannot see. Right? So once something becomes a culture, it means that it has escaped, it has actually progressed into a level of subconscious thought. So it is something that happens automatically. It engages at an auto level, at an automatic level. All right. So most organizations have cultures which they are not even aware of, simply because of what they've decided to allow in their organizations, what they've decided to reward. So, in other words, culture are the habits, culture are the rituals that over time either have been allowed and therefore rewarded in one way or another, and they get themselves entrenched into the lifestyle, into the way of life of that organization, right? That's the first one. Secondly, it can also be practices, right? Practices that have been, rejected, to say this is not part of our culture. All right. So that becomes a culture. The fact that, we don't condone ABC in this organization. We don't allow it. So therefore it becomes a culture that we do not allow A or B or C. Right. Now, Dr. Deming has a very interesting statement when it comes to what I'm talking about. Dr. Deming says that our prevailing system of management has destroyed our people, right? And he goes on to say that the destruction actually starts with toddlers, all right? Because from the time you were a toddler, you started being ranked, whether you were the best or not, based on a certain criteria at school, right? And those that were not considered to be at a certain level of acceptability from the requirements at school, they were then punished. So right from school, the concept of a manager and employee, the concept of a boss and employee was introduced, it was entrenched, it was institutionalized into your mind. That is why, I believe and I agree with the people who actually come with the theory, right, that says that actually it was industrialists that started the schools in the format in which they are today, in order that they have a conditioned workforce, a conditioned workforce that will suit the profit making, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with profit making, but that would suit the profit making industrial type of operation, where human beings are actually treated as if they are machines, right? They are treated as if they are machines. So systems thinking is exactly about that. It is about making human beings become conscious of the fact that they are not machines. You are not a machine. All right? You are part of a species that produced machines. like the machine that I'm speaking to right now as I'm recording this video. So you are not a machine, and therefore the way in which you've been acculturated, the way in which, oh God, this phone is moving, the way in which you've been, acculturated, the way in which you've been taught at school, you've been conditioned to obey a boss who usually has either a stick or a carrot for you, right? Sorry. Now, you've been acculturated, you've been conditioned to think like a machine, as if, you are not a creative being, you're not a feeling being, an emotional being, a thinking being, right? So, Dr. Deming goes on to say that school and work are the same, right? School and work are the same, all right? So he says that they are the same in terms of what the embodiment of the industrial age is. So if you want to understand the industrial age, if you want to understand corporate today, if you want to understand organizations, be they NGOs, be they political, whatever organization you belong to, whatever company you are employed at, you just need to study the genesis, which is the school system as we know it today. All right. So let me pause here and ask you a question. What were your experiences at school? Both positive and those that were not so positive. What were your experiences at school? And can you see a correlation between how you behave now at work, right? How you behave in your organization, how you behave, if you do introspection, how you behave in your stokvel, how you behave at your church, right? How you behave in your book club, any organization, any organized group in which you belong. Can you see a correlation between how your experience was at school and therefore how you are behaving now, right? So in relation, this is in relation to what you do for that organization, why you belong in that organization. There is a close link to how you were, how you were conditioned at school. There was a boss, that was the teacher. The teacher had a boss, that was the departmental manager, and that departmental manager had a boss, that was the deputy principal, and the deputy principal had a boss, which is the principal, and the principal had a boss, which is the governing body, and on and on and on it goes, all right? Now, at work, we have supervisors. Supervisor reports to a manager. A manager reports to a senior manager. I mean, imagine to a senior manager. A senior manager reports to a senior manager. And a senior manager reports to an executive manager. And then the executive manager reports to the director. Okay, I'm dramatizing a bit. To the director, and then the director reports to a director general. And the director general reports to the executive or the C-suite executive. The CEO reports to the board reports to the shareholders, and on it goes. Now, right there is the beginning of a problem, because you see that even though you hear these words, no, in this organization we encourage creativity. No, in this organization we encourage thinking out of the box. In this organization we have an open door policy. They say all the right things. However, the culture in that organization, proves differently. The culture proves differently. In fact, I find in most organizations that say all the right things, that have all the right